aren't Russian aircraft already excluded because of the flight ban that was announced last week?
Yeah, that's right. We on the very first day when Putin invaded Ukraine, we immediately banned Aeroflot. We followed that up with bans of private jets, other commercial and private jets. What I've done late last night is signed a further statute, further law, essentially criminalising some of the behaviour, ensuring that the net is wider. So anyone with connections, so this might be a Russian oligarch who perhaps isn't directly a Russian citizen, for example, widening this out to ensure that what we're not doing is helping any of Putin's cronies from taking advantage of our airspace, our airports, and the like, in order that we have the powers to check out aircraft if they do come here as well.
Right. Let's also talk about petrol, shall we? Because the average price of petrol is 155 a litre. We've heard the Kremlin say that the price could go to, in terms of barrel, price per barrel, $300 a barrel if the West starts to restrict imports of oil, which America is doing. How many businesses do you think are in peril if the price of petrol continues to go up?
First of all, I think it's worth being completely upfront about this. We know that there's costs to war, and we're not, fortunately, on the front line. We're not the country being invaded and seeing our kids being killed in the streets and what have you. But we do stand foursquare behind Ukraine, and we can't have a situation where we are effectively, through gas and oil, providing the blood money to fund Putin's war machine. And I think most British people feel very strongly about that. I think people absolutely accept that we shouldn't be purchasing their oil. Fortunately, actually, our petrol, because we've also made the same announcement as the US, fading it out, in our case, by the end of the year, and Europe over quite a much longer time frame. But actually, reassuringly, none of our petrol in the forecourts comes from Russia, and we do have substantial domestic provision of oil and gas as well. So we're less affected. But the global price is very high. It is putting a squeeze on families. Fortunately, we've frozen now for 14 years, the duty on petrol, which has helped to keep that price down as well.
There have been many people who say that if the price continues to go up, which it may, because of the way that global prices affect all of us, that perhaps we should at some point look at not just freezing fuel duty, but removing it.
Well, look, I think first of all, I'm just talking to, or hearing from rather, some oil exports who look at what's happening in the global market, which is what's really affecting us here, of course. And they're recognising, they say that actually quite a lot of this, in other words, the West starting or stopping really buying Russian hydrocarbons is already being priced into the market. This is not a market prediction, but it may well be that quite a bit of this is priced in already. Of course, the government always looks at these things, but I have to say about £15 per fill up for the average family car has already been removed from the price by not having the index linking over all these years of the fuel duty. I think really the issue is probably more in the energy prices, the price of energy to heat your home and that sort of thing. And again, the government's providing about £20 billion of assistance for families who were already hard pressed coming out of coronavirus,
Yes.
as we saw the economy start to expand and the amount of gas and oil that we needed, therefore growing and the price going up. And that was even before Putin invaded Ukraine.
Let me ask you about the ongoing criticism there has been of the Home Office and the way they have been, people say, slowly processing and issuing visas for Ukrainians. I think the last figure we had was 300, but there have been tens of thousands of applications. Do you think it's been fast enough?
Yeah, 760 granted is the latest figure. First of all, look, the first thing I want to say is anyone who's seen the pictures and knows what's going on in Ukraine, of course, the very first thing we all want to do is reach out and help. I think your listeners will be pleased to hear that the United Kingdom's provided more cash, more humanitarian aid, £400 million, than any other country in the world. Geographically, of course, to get here, you have to pass through a lot of other countries. So it's unsurprising that the majority of people are going to places like Poland, right next door. And then as you come west, countries will be taking more than us. But that is
But we're,
also
we're
because
talking about people
President
who have relatives here already.
yeah, oh, okay. I was just going to say also because President Zelensky and the Ukrainian government have asked for people to stay as close to as possible. But in terms of the family members, we have an incredibly generous scheme which actually is not capped. And we've extended what is referred to as a family member to aunts and uncles. It can be a pretty distant family. We think that's probably up to 200,000 people through that route alone. And that's not the only route. We're also introducing a sponsored route in as well, again, unlimited in size. So this is a very big program. We will be very generous as a country, as we always are with these things. And I do want to see, of course, we want to see that happen as quickly as possible.
But do you think it's been fast enough?
No, I think it's been fast enough. Well, look, physically, people having to move across the whole of Europe takes time. I do think that it's very important that we have enough locations for people to go in order to get permission to come here. So the visa element of this, we do need to take people's biometrics and that sort of thing, because we need to know who's entering the country. But that's gone from 800 appointments being available to 6,000 appointments being available, and so that people are actually able to get that availability. And look, we're dealing with either very close to a war zone or coming out a lot of people, and what we want to do is see this happen as quickly as possible. We're doing additional things, for example, setting up a visa application centre in Lille, in addition to locations in most capitals, Paris and elsewhere, to make it easier for people.
Okay, Grant Shapps, Transport Secretary, thank you.